Well, tonight, President Obama will defend his record overseas against challenger Mitt Romney in their third and final face-off, this time focusing exclusively on foreign policy. And with Election Day now just 15 days away, can you believe it? The race is closer than ever. A new NBC News Wall Street Journal national poll among likely voters has the candidates tied at 47% apiece. And with us this morning to give a preview of tonight's final face-off, we have CNN contributor and Republican strategist Anna Navarro and CNN political analyst Roland Martin. And Anna, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to start with polls here. A new NBC Wall Street Journal poll shows Obama is leading with women. So let's put up those numbers for everybody. Obama is also now beating Romney with suburban women. Back in September, that group favored Romney by 6 points. Can Romney close the gender gap here?
You know, I think so, Zoraida. We saw that as a result of the first debate, Romney closed gaps that we thought were insurmountable just a few weeks ago, including the women gap. This is going to get a lot closer. We're seeing it get closer in the battleground states and nationally. It's going to get closer with the demographic groups, with the regional groups. We're going to see this come down to the wire is what I think.
Do you agree, Roland?
Of course. This is the base election. Go back to 2004. President George W. Bush beat Senator John Kerry in Ohio by 110,000 votes. That determined the election. This was always going to be a base vote. I wasn't one of these folks, even a year ago, who was saying, oh, the national polls, no, it's going to be a blowout. No, this was always going to be about the economy. It was going to be about pocketbook issues. And it was going to be about, again, who has, in terms of the vision moving forward. So all the folks who were thinking of blowout, they were nuts.
You know, let's talk about endorsements, because I always wonder whether these newspaper endorsements really make a difference. So a slew of newspaper announcing endorsements over the weekend. Romney grabbing 2 in Florida, as well as 3 in other big swing states. Obama, meanwhile, getting multiple bumps in Ohio and Colorado. How influential do you think these endorsements are to folks who are actually voting?
Well, first of all, people forget. You know, look, I've worked at newspapers in my past, and they do matter because people do read those editorial pages. If you are a conservative, you want the stamp of the approval from the Wall Street Journal editorial board. So why should that be a difference maker and not these particular states here? People are reading them. And so, you know, again, in a tight election, you want every possible vote that's out there. And so I think they do have some role in elections.
Anna, do you agree with that? Do they have a role? A significant role, I guess I should add.
Look, I think their role is less significant with the years. Today, voters have such a slew of information from diverse sources. We've got blogs, we've got 24-hour cable channels, we've got, you know, all sorts of publications. We've got Twitter, we've got Facebook. So I think they are much less significant. And we know newspapers are less significant, unfortunately, because I love newspapers, because we've seen their dwindling numbers. I don't think they matter as much as they once did, when it was maybe the most important or sole source of information on a candidate, most complete source of information on a candidate. These campaigns have been going on for a long, long time. You know, most of us really know these candidates by now.
But trust me, if some of those big papers in Ohio, Anna would love to have those endorsements as well. I mean, bottom line is, again, in a tight election, you want as much support as possible.
Yeah, let's move on to foreign policy, because that's what we're going to be focusing on this evening. And a new Wall Street Journal report is out this morning, and it's showing that President Obama was told in his daily intelligence briefing more than a week ago that protests were actually to blame in the consulate attack. It was not corrected by the CIA until September 22nd. Does that take some of the pressure off of President Obama heading into this debate tonight?
Vice President Biden talked about the intelligence reports. From day one, that was the case. Now, here's what's interesting. You keep hearing the criticism saying, you know, throwing the intelligence folks under the bus. That's where you get your information from. And so that's where they were stating, Ambassador Susan Rice, when she went on Meet the Press, that's what she was talking about. And so if you want to criticize the White House, then you must also say, what was the intelligence? What were our sources on the ground? What were they telling us? And that's who you lean on. And so I think the president, when he lays it out, look, General David Petraeus now heads the CIA. And so it'd be interesting to see, is he going to come out and actually speak before the cameras as opposed to just having the president do so?
Anna, what do you think about this latest report and how it will affect tonight?
Look, I think it's a vulnerability, but I think it's only a vulnerability if Mitt Romney manages to, you know, be able to articulate it succinctly and really land a blow. The problem with this Benghazi thing is you can't have it both ways. You can't say on the one hand that the next day afterwards you came out and called it an act of terror, and at the same time try to blame not calling it an act of terror on the intelligence folks. The truth is, and the question that needs to be answered is, okay, Mr. President, if you called it an act of terror the next day in the Rose Garden, why then then is it that everybody in your administration called it anything but an act of terror for the next 12 days?
Because again,
that's the question that Mitt Romney has to get in.
Because you're basing your arguments on what the intelligence tells you. And so that's what you base it on. And remember, Susan
so what
Rice...
was he basing his argument the first
One second. Even Ambassador Rice made the point in terms of this is what we know now. And so that is critical because things can certainly change.
I really want to get your reaction to one final thing here. The Obama campaign has released a brand new ad just minutes ago, so let's play it.
President Obama ended the Iraq War. Mitt Romney would have left 30,000 troops there and called bringing them home tragic. Obama's brought 30,000 soldiers back from Afghanistan and has a responsible plan to end the war. Romney calls it Obama's biggest mistake. It's time to stop fighting over there and start rebuilding here.
I'm going to let you weigh in first, Roland.
Huge, because we have spent billions of dollars on these two wars, did not pay for them, and the American people are frankly tired of having to do so. Also, when the president says we're bringing these troops back home, if you're a military family, you're tired of your family members being constantly deployed. This is an economic ad, as well as one saying, I am willing to stop these ridiculous wars because we've been paying too much money for it. Strong ad.
Anna, does this hurt Romney with women voters in particular? There's a lot of talk about that going to war is not popular with women.
You know, I think, Zoraida, that women don't look at just one issue. I think we look at a number of issues, and I'll tell you something. I think we reserve our right to change our mind. And, you know, that's why you see these women numbers shifting back and forth, depending a lot on these debate performances. This is a good ad. It's a reminder ad. I'm reminding you what I did for you lately. But you know, Mitt Romney has places to go at against Barack Obama on foreign policy. It's not considered his bailiwick, Mitt Romney's, and yet he's done great progress in it, in that one issue in the last several weeks.
Most important line of that ad, rebuilding here. That's what Americans love to hear, saying don't rebuild in other countries, rebuild in the United States.
All right, on that note, we're going to leave it.